Welcome to Commercient Innovators, where we spotlight the heroes of digital transformation. I'm Heath McKnight. Today, I'm speaking with Chris Hollenberg, who is the sales director at TRC Trans. Chris, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Heath. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. So, Chris, tell me a little bit about your company and a little bit about how your role at the company and also about yourself.
Yeah, so TRC Transmissions was opened in 1981 here in the Seattle, Washington area. So over 40 years in business now. We've grown to selling over 5,000 transmissions a year, primarily to the Northwest. Because of our position in Seattle, we sell a lot to Alaska and Hawaii. We have a dedicated team of builders, transmission dynos, where we're able to test the units. And I've been with the company for a little over 10 years now, just celebrated that in March. I'm stationed here as well in the Seattle area. I've been here basically my entire adult life. Having a good time with everything so far.
Yeah, awesome. Now, are these transmissions manufactured new, or is there a remanufacturing, or is it a mix of both?
It is remanufacturing. Our whole process is based around that. So yeah, we're taking defective cores, making them like new again.
Excellent, excellent. And by the way, congrats on 10 years. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You always hear stories about people. It's like, 3-4 years, I'm done. I'm going to go on to the next. So that's incredible. That's
how it is nowadays.
Yeah. And also incredible. I never would have expected Hawaii, but it does make sense because it's just a quick way to ship. Now, you and I spoke pre-pandemic. And you explained to me the goals with Salesforce and with Commercient syncing over your ERP accounting data, which is Sage 50, and how that would play in. We literally talked February, so this is like a month before the pandemic, and here we are. Yeah. I mean, we're almost a few months from 3 years. And before this call, you had kind of mentioned that between Salesforce Sync and also the pandemic, your company did more than just a digital transformation, that things really changed. And I was wondering if you could tell me about that.
Yeah, of course. So obviously the pandemic changed a lot, right? The way we live, the way we operated, the way we did business changed a lot. We moved our outside sales team to inside sales. And the opportunity that we saw, talking to my production team, it was going to be hard to get parts. We were going to be able to sell the transmissions. Demand went through the roof. But we weren't going to be able to get the parts to build them. And we weren't going to have enough people to build them either. So we pulled back from what we would call our distributor level customers. So we have customers that bought high volume and received big discounts for that volume. In the past, we could never move ways with them because that was just such a foundation to our business, right? We needed that work to just kind of sustain us through the slower times. But now we've got more business coming in that we know what to do with. So we kind of took the leap. We went from being able to make 15,000 outgoing calls a year to 35,000 outgoing calls a year. So by being able to call general automotive shops, we basically cut out the distributors. We eliminated all discounts. There is not a single discounted transmission that leaves our facility over the last year and a half. So we're at full wholesale on every sale. And on top of that, we've added value to our product as well. In the transmission business and the automotive business, if I sell you a transmission and it doesn't work, there's a cost to reinstall that transmission. It costs, the shop normally is billing $100 an hour to up to $250 an hour, depending on where you are in the country. So an automotive shop, if they buy a transmission and my previous warranty paid $70 an hour if there was a problem, that could really hurt a shop. If they have a whole parking lot full of cars that need to be worked on, and they're only getting paid $70 an hour to push this one over and do it again, that's devastating to the shop owner. And $70 an hour is kind of a higher point of the market right now for transmission purchases and warranty. So we increased it to $120 an hour, and then we added a package on top of that a shop can purchase to go to $160 an hour for those people that are in higher areas of the country, like downtown Seattle or San Francisco. Those shops are definitely more expensive. So we got rid of our distributors. We raised our price. We cut out discounts. We added value. And because we're able to contact so many shops so conveniently with all the data in Salesforce from our ERP Sage, right? Commercient, you guys are helping us move that data. My team can see on Salesforce everything we need to know about the customer, and we can just dial that phone number.
That's amazing. And so you're no surprise your outside sales went inside. I would say a lot of the customers I spoke to that happened, and I would follow up and they say, well, post-pandemic, we're back to outside sales. is your company back to outside sales, or are they able to do just a lot of that on the phone now?
Inside, we were, prior to the pandemic, we were already having success with inside sales. When I was hired 10 years ago, I was brought in to see if we could acquire new business over the phone. That was basically why I was hired. The team needed help. There was just two salespeople at the time, and it was time for the company to start growing. We kind of got into a good spot. I came in and I was able to prove that we could get new business. If you just dialed shops and said hi and asked them who they were using and what they liked about them, and we could get new customers. So we were already moving towards inside when the pandemic hit. So it was just kind of an automatic. We can make so many more calls from a desk inside the office than we can driving around from shop to shop. It's gas consuming, miles on the car consuming, time consuming, right? It's a lot to show up face to face. It's a very expensive meeting.
Yeah. And I can't imagine, well, let me back up a little bit. We have a customer in Western Canada. They don't do anything that you're doing, but they're strictly outside sales. They're back to being in the outside. They can actually drive around in their different regions, and so they sell pet supplies, and they can go and it's not a big deal for them to drive around. And there's a time in between, obviously, shops, but they sell so much to each shop, you know, that it's not a big deal. However, I guess I'll pose this question. If they're driving around shop to shop, is it justifying the amount of transmissions that you'll be selling per shop versus that gas and that time, probably even more if it's like a half-hour drive to the next shop? Does it justify that versus just picking up that phone and making that call? I don't know if I'm clear in my question there.
No, very clear, very clear. So our average customer buys about 4 transmissions a year.
Okay.
If you had a high volume customer that was buying more than that, I think the in-person value would be worth it, but we're having good success over the phone. We're able to contact so many more people that it doesn't equate for our business model when we've got about a $10,000 to $12,000 value per customer per year. It doesn't make sense to have somebody on the road for us. If you've got a customer doing $100,000 a year, then I would absolutely think, yes, put somebody there in front of them, right? It's very important.
But that also opens up your company. Well, for one thing, you don't need to have somebody in Hawaii. Maybe you do, or Alaska. You can just get on the phone, make that call, take care of that customer. Absolutely. And then just ship out what you need to ship out.
It expanded us into California instantly, which is maybe it is the biggest market on the West Coast. So.
I mean, what is it? It's in the top 10 economies in the world just by itself. So absolutely. Now with Commercient, we are syncing certain things like invoices, order information, order history, invoices paid, etc. Is there a certain and over general, I hate to use the word general, but just that customer information that is synced over, but probably also updated and added into Salesforce? But is that, would you say, the most important thing, being able to pull up that customer in Salesforce, seeing what they ordered, which will help them with that campaign that you had mentioned to me a couple of years ago? I just, if you don't mind, just I don't want you to reveal any trade secrets, but maybe kind of walk me through on that data that's coming over from Sage and how that helps with those calls.
So we built out Salesforce to show statuses of customers. So I can instantly filter, and this is all based on the data that we're getting from Commercient, right? You're bringing this information from our ERP over. I can instantly look at customers that have never quoted with TRC before, have quoted but aren't buying. I can look at first purchase customers. I can say, hey, this person just had a warranty. I can filter all these subsets down, and then I can go into detail on when the last quotes were, filter down into specific subsets of customers that we're looking for. I have even a filter set up for 6 months, no purchases. So then we can target those customers and just make the phone call and see if everything's okay, right? Just double check. But a lot of what we're doing here is lining up the same type of call so that when I get on the phone to make outgoing calls that day, I have the same type of customer. I might line up 30 customers that have never quoted with us. So I just instantly know these guys are brand new. Maybe we've called them before, but we haven't said anything or done anything correctly to get them to give us a shot. And then vice versa, the next phase, if somebody's quoting but they haven't bought, then there's a little deeper call, right? Maybe a little more hope on the call, right? So we can kind of filter down and tackle the better calls first, the more valuable calls first, and then go after somebody that hasn't quoted after we've made the calls to people that have.
Understood. That's incredible. And any marketing tools in Salesforce that your company is using? Because it sounds like that's some of your marketing can be done that way. Even I don't know if you do email newsletters or not, targeting customers. That let's segment customers who haven't ordered in 6 months and send something like, hey, I hate to use the word coupon, but get 10% off your next order or something like that. Are you using any tools in Salesforce marketing tools, Pardot or anything?
We've done a little bit of emailing through Salesforce's generic email capabilities. I haven't been that impressed with it yet. I think we do need to go to Pardot. We're in communication with Salesforce over Pardot. Historically for TRC, we've in the past done a fair amount of emailing, and we've done a fair amount of postcards, and we've had so much more success just getting somebody on the phone with the shop. That's been it's been our number one way to get new customers. Marketing has been kind of hit or miss. It's been better through the pandemic. We just recently did a postcard that we had very good success with to customers we had never contacted before, but it was sub 1%. It's not.
Since Salesforce and SYNC has been implemented, are you able to quantify the increase in sales? And obviously, that's not the whole part of it. Your sales team is in your operations, everything is a huge part of that as well. But have you been able to quantify 2020 to 21 and maybe where you'll be at in 22?
In a sense, it's difficult to look at because we lost our biggest, I don't want to say lost, we let go of our biggest players. We gave up a lot of business. So our transmission count is about the same. We're selling a similar number of transmissions. But as I said earlier, our ARO, our average sale price, is up drastically. From 2020, we're up 50% in 2 years. So because we're able to reach more customers and because we're able to target those phone calls in a little more specific, we're able to get good detail and lock in very specific sets of customers, we're able to make better quality calls and more of them through the combination of data and Salesforce via Commercient.
Understood. And when you say, I think I understand what you're saying, letting go of the big ones, that would be a company, you don't need to name it, who would say, hey, I need 100 transmissions, but I expect to have that 50% discount. Versus now you're a lot more diversified. You said it could be a shop with just 4 of them.
Yes.
But to them, that's still probably infinitely cheaper than buying a new one. So you're a lot more diverse. You have a lot more shops that you can count on. And if one kind of falls short, you have more that are there. Whereas when you have like 4, 5, 6 big ones, if one drops, that can be,
it would be
very
huge.
painful. Yeah.
Yeah. And those bigger companies cost us issues too. We had cores are kind of the lifeline of our business, right? If I sell you a transmission for a car, I need the old defective one back out of it. And one of our top customers, they would send us back broken cores and they would say, too bad. They wouldn't pay the core charge. And so, we had, because they were buying so much, they had power, right? They could flex a little and say, hey, well, if you guys don't eat this core, we're just not, we're going to take this $1 million account away from you. And what are you going to do, right? So now we get to walk away from that, and now we get to kind of dictate our own future, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your next plan as things pretty much are getting back to normal for the most part? Just, I'm not trying to sound boring or anything, but stay the course while growing and expanding further. What is TRC's plans?
I think staying the course is going to be a big part of it, but you actually set it up well. We're going to get into Pardot. We're going to get into more email marketing. We're adding emails every day through our outgoing calls. That's one of the number one things we're doing when we're talking to a customer, just trying to get that email. We actually, like I said, we had pretty good success with the last postcard. We're going to be running another postcard, but as of right now, our value proposition is higher than ever. Our average transmission price is higher than ever. We've got a wider customer base, which has made a more stable business. Really staying the course, we're on a good plan right now.
Excellent. I think that's it. I really appreciate your time, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.